Hey guys, I'm going to sit down and have a cup of coffee. I got up a little late today. Matter of fact, it's way late. And talk to you about that video I made. What happens to the house when the marriage falls apart? Well, I did a he said, she said. I had his side of the story. I had her side of the story. And now I'm going to give you my side of the story. This is a story that had so many mistakes, so many red flags. And as the foreigner, you're the one that has to make sure that you see everything. What brought me to make that video was I saw in an expat Facebook group, this guy had a house up, picture of a house, and he had a post with it saying, "Don't buy this house. If you buy this house, it's a scam. I own the house. If you buy it, you will not own it." So I was interested in this. I did not know William ahead of time. I never saw his videos prior to this. But I was really interested in what happens to a house when you break up. You know, a lot of guys build houses, then the marriage falls apart. What happens to the house? Do they sell it? Do they, give it to the family? What do they do? And when I contacted William, he was in Thailand. And I was surprised that he was in Thailand. So I asked him, can we do a video chat? And can I record this and do a video on it? And he agreed, being that he was a YouTuber, which I was not aware of at the time, but I'm plenty aware of it now. So we started talking. And if you watch the video, right here's the link to the video. It's part 1. He goes about explaining how his money was disappearing and how he was with this his wife for about 7 years, and money was always the money was just disappearing fast and furious. And also the subject came up about a life insurance policy. And I think he had a little bit of fear that somebody might hurt him for the life insurance. And then there was the house. It was a house that was on land he did not have a lease for. He did not own the land. His wife did not own the land. It was family land. It was the family of his wife, and they gave him permission to build a house on the property. But then the marriage started to fall apart. He left. They separated, and then he decided to move on to Thailand, and that's where it ends with him. He's in Thailand. She's here in Chaton. So I wanted to get her side of the story. So Janet reached out to her and found her on Facebook and contacted her. And we drove out to Chaton on a Sunday. And we met her at a place called Bernie's. A real nice small little restaurant next to a gas station. And they had an area where they had bands and dancing and music to play on the weekends. And we sat down and did an interview with her. And she told us the story. And also she confirmed that money was a problem. That she did spend too much money. She was wasting the money, is a good way to put it. Also, there was a life insurance policy. And there also was a house on her parents' property, but she did not sell the house. Now, Willie thought that she sold the house, but she did not. She plans on living there with her children. The life insurance policy, 1 million peso. Willie was sick. He had heart condition. He had a stroke. A minor stroke, and she got a life insurance policy because she might lose him as a breadwinner, and she has children, so she got a 1 million peso life insurance policy. After William moved to Thailand, she canceled the policy because he's not in the country anymore, so no reason to pay for something that won't be in effect because he's out of the country. So there's no life insurance policy anymore. She did admit to mismanaging the money, giving money and spending money. I didn't reach to find out where the money went, but I'm going to assume it went to family. So the house, William did buy the material for the house. His wife, Win Guy, got all the permits in her name. She also built a house with William on her family's property, and they did not have a lease with the family. So you have a piece of property owned by the family. William bought the materials, paid for the labor, and he built this house. But what is he entitled to in the house? I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. He's going to have to get a lawyer. He's in Thailand. To get a lawyer and come back here and go through the legal paperwork, with children involved, just let the kids have the house. You know, lesson learned. My opinion on why there was such a breakdown in the relationship. It was mismanaging of the money. Now, William had money every month. You know, he had a disability pension coming in, I believe, and it was about 90,000 pesos every month. He would give it to her to spend the money, to pay the bills, and that would be for the motorcycles that they bought, and she wasn't good at paying the bills. And here's the big mistake guys make. You get involved with a provincial girl. She's never had a lot of money. Maybe she has 5,000 pesos a month, 10,000 pesos a month. But she's never handled 50,000 pesos a month or 100,000 pesos a month. Guys, you have to stay on top of the money. These women sometimes cannot manage the money. They cannot say no to the family. Mismanaging of the money was the #1 cause for failure of this relationship. And then once the money starts disappearing, things are going through your head. Where did the money go? You know, it's so much money every month, every month, every month. If their bills were only like 30 or 40,000 pesos a month, where did the other 40 or 50,000 pesos go every month? I don't know. I don't think anybody can really answer that question. I'm going to assume it went to family, went to friends, because his wife never had that kind of money to manage before. And guys, you have to manage your money. These young ladies, these women that you get involved with here, and you let them manage all the money, pay all the bills. Remember Ronald Reagan, trust but verify. You know, Willie said he trusted his wife, but he never verified it. You know, when Janet goes to pay a bill, or if you have a girlfriend here and she goes to pay the electric bill or a motorcycle payment bill, if you got something on installment payments, ask for the receipt. Check on the balance. If you're in town, go to the Honda dealer or wherever the payments are being made and check on your balance every now and then to make sure the payments are being made. But the best thing to do is get up and go make these payments yourself. Handle the money yourself. And when she goes grocery shopping and you give her money, 2,000, 3,000, whatever you give her, ask for the receipt when she gets home. Look at the receipt. You know, Janet's always handing me the receipts. And I tell her I don't want them, but I'm glad she's handing them to me. And I take a quick look at them. I see that the electric bill is paid. When she goes to pay the cable and the internet bill, I see that it's paid. Money is the number one reason for relationships that fail. And that's back in your home country, or that's here. And the big thing here is trust and verify. Remember, people are always going to be coming after your girlfriend or your wife for money. They know she's married to a foreigner or with a foreigner, and they're going to ask her, you know, hey, I'm having a problem. Can I borrow some money? Can I have some money? And if she feels obligated to give them that money, she's going to give it to them. If she has it available and doesn't have to answer to you about where the money went, because you gave her you gave her the whole 90,000 pesos at the beginning of the month. And she paid a few bills and she loaned some money out, hoping they would pay her back. Maybe they don't. But that's the #1 failure. You must, as a man, be in control of the finances. That's your job here. People say it's a transaction. An old foreigner with a young girl, it's a monetary transaction. Well, it might be. But keep an eye on the money. Because if it's all gone, what are you going to do? You know, you're just going to have arguments and fights. Keep control of the money. As for a life insurance policy, there's nothing wrong with having a life insurance policy. I just wouldn't tell anybody I have one. You know, let the lawyer know and then tell your wife, you know, whatever happens to me, go see this lawyer. He'll know where to bury me. But that's where the life insurance should be with, or a friend. I wouldn't let her family know that there's a life insurance policy on me or on you. I keep that private. Buying things on installment. Not the smartest thing to do. If you can't afford to pay cash for a motorcycle, $1,000, $2,000, don't buy it. Keep riding the trike and the jeepney until you have the money for it. You know, installments are not the best way to go here in the Philippines. The interest is high. And also, when it comes down to buying a house, building that house on family land, you got to get a lease. You got to get all this written up so you know what your rights are. As it stands right now, do you even have the right to go on the property if you don't have a lease to go visit your house? You know, you built a house on someone's land. Well, what if they, on their land, they say, hey, you can't trespass here anymore. We're not allowing you on the property because you don't have a lease. You just have a handshake. Maybe the barangay captain will say, hey, let him on to be in this house, but then again, maybe not. It's a very tragic story with Willie and his wife. 7 to 8 years together, married for the vast majority of that, 2 children involved. Both said they're the best friends to each other. Both said Willie was great with the kids. Big mistake is not handling the money properly. I think all this could have been avoided. Better handling of the finances, making sure you know where the money goes. And then the biggest mistake was building a house without a lease on the land. You gotta have a lease so you can go on that property and build and take possession of that house. And building a house, I don't think there's anything wrong with somebody building a house. You're with somebody for 7 or 8 years. You're going to invest $20,000 US into building this house. It's not a great house, but it's not a bad house. It's a livable house. It's a nice house for someone who's never had a house before. Janet would be happy with a house like that. So building the house wasn't the downfall. The downfall was all the mistakes you made along the way. You were buying things and having your wife do everything, getting the permits, getting the family's permission. You were getting installment payment on motorcycles. You were getting the loans in her name because as a foreigner, I don't know if you can get a loan, you know. So you were trusting her too much with the money, and one, you didn't have enough money probably for this whole situation. So it's a sad story. It's one that could have been avoided with all the red flags. Money is the #1 problem. And these girls, as much as you love them, as much as they care for you, they've never had to handle that kind of money before. And it's a scary thing, you know. When Janet's carrying 10 or 15,000 pesos to go grocery shopping, or we're up in Cebu, she's nervous. Now think how nervous they are if they have to carry, you know, 1,000 US, 55,000 pesos, or 100,000 pesos. It's not that much money in reality, but it is a lot of money for someone who's never handled that money before. You know, it's like giving candy to a kid. You give them a couple pieces. Wow, this is great. Next thing you know, they're taking it out of the refrigerator and eating all the candy. You have to control it. You have to control the money. Trust and verify. Don't buy stuff on installments. And if you do, you go make the payments. If you have an electric bill and you make the payment, don't you want to see the receipt that it was paid? You know, you need to see the receipt. What if there's a mistake at the electric company and they come and want to turn off your power? You need to have the receipt to show that it was paid. So think hard before you give all the money every month to your better half. Verify. Verify everything. And remember, when you get older, when you get to be 80, 85, closing in on 90, and you're here, you're the only one taking care of you. Yeah, you have a nice girlfriend, you have a nice wife, and she's going to take care of you. But your money, it's just you. You have to make sure you have the money for your long life. Don't spend every nickel you have. Save some money every month. But you can avoid these problems with your girlfriend if they're from the province and they're not used to it. Now, if you got a girl that went to college and she's been in business and she knows how to handle money, that's a different story. But I still want to verify that where the money goes. I still want to verify that. And the family can put so much pressure on the girl. You know, Janet's constantly being bombarded by cousins and family members about things. And she handles it. Sometimes we give some money, sometimes we don't. More often we don't. But I'm aware of it. Janet talks to me about it, and we handle the situation. Also, in this relationship with Willie and one guy, They were together for so long and they called each other their best friends. And because the mismanagement of money, they're no longer best friends. You know, both of them had a tear in their eye when they talked to me about the other one, how much they loved the other one, how great a best friend that person was, how they spent so much time together, how she took care of him when he was sick, how she took him to the hospital to make sure he was all right. You know, when he had a small stroke, she was there giving him medication, taking him to the clinic, making sure he was okay. And he was there every month with his pension, his income, his money he was getting, and giving it to her so she could have groceries. The kids could have clothes, pay the electric bill, pay the bills. He was doing his part. She was doing her part. But the big problem developed was they mismanaged their money. He didn't verify. And the more, you know what they say, you know, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Well, you try to get her to budget the money, and she was very bad at it. She even said she was terrible at budgeting the money. And he was also bad at budgeting the money. So I hope everything works out for him. I don't know which way it's going to go. I'm not going to do any more videos with them. We wish them the best of luck. They both message me from time to time. It's a problem they caused, they developed, and they have to solve. My only hope and wish is that the kids are fine and people help take care of the kids. I'm talking about Willie helps take care of the kids. Her and the father of the children also try to help out with the kids, you know, financially, make sure they have clothes, they get educated, you know, they can afford the books that they need, they have food on the table, they have a place to live. And Willie, why'd you drop a tree on their house? You called it was a piggery and you dropped a tree on their house. When you did that, you sort of like put her in captivity. She had nowhere else to go. She could only go with you. So there's a lot of blame to you, Willie, in this situation. One, you mismanaged your money wrong. You gave her too much rope. You gave her too much money, telling her to pay the bills. And then when you found out the first time she wasn't paying the motorcycle bill, you still kept giving her money to pay the bills. That's totally on you. You should have manned up, put the money in your pocket, and handled everything. The young lady, you shouldn't have spent all the money, and you should have let them know where the money was going. You know, so you're both at fault there. Willie, you're the man, you're the foreigner. Trust and verify. Trust but verify, and that's for everybody. For the life insurance policy, that's up to you guys whoever have a partner, if you want to have a life insurance policy or not. It's something I toss around. It might be a good idea, maybe not. But to build a house and build it on land that you do not have a lease to. You know, Willie, if you would have gotten a 25-year lease, that would have gone through your lifespan. You know, you would have had the rights to that property and the rights, you know, to be in that house for 25 years. But you didn't get a lease. And you've watched enough YouTube videos in the past, and you know better. You should have got the lease. Prenup. Billy did mention you should get a prenup. Well, what are you going to prenup, Willie? You get a monthly pension and you don't own anything. A couple bikes on installment. Getting a prenup is only for people who have a lot of assets. So if you have a lot of assets and you need to protect them, get a prenup. But in this case, Willie, you didn't need a prenup. Take a look at this video. This is part 1 and part 2. If you haven't watched these videos yet, watch them, because that's what I'm talking about.